Hello everybody. In this video, we are going to discuss about annihilation reactions using configurationally stable chiral carbon titanium nucleophiles. Okay. So what I mean, so we have discussed annihilation with chiral electrophile using achiral nucleophile. Now our plan is to discuss this annihilation chemistry or allyl type addition of allyl type nucleophile to aldehyde or imine using chiral nucleophile. So in principle you can make a nucleophile chiral by taking this protecting group as a chiral, okay, like this boronate ester or Evans auxiliary or sulfonine amine. Actually I might now here, but there are another way you can make this allylating agent, this nucleophile chiral, is make this carbon as a chiral center while keeping this a carbon metal bond. It can be, let's say, titanium. Okay, we are going to discuss. So famous chemistry by Professor Hoppe. So at the moment I will be discussing about this part. Let's proceed with this. The configurationally stable chiral allyl metal can be generated in two paths. Okay, what are these two ways? One, starting with chiral secondary alcohol. So you are starting with a enantiomerically pure secondary alcohols. Or one can take a prochiral substrate and can do asymmetric deprotonation using chiral ligand with the help of a butyl lithium reagent, let's say. Okay, so in that way, let us discuss about this reaction here. If you start with a chiral alcohol, secondary alcohol, you have a one hydrogen free, and protecting this O as a carbamate will give us this substrate. So Cb actually this group, a carbamate. So now by taking this reaction, just taking this substrate which is enantiomerically pure and treating with N-butyl lithium in using a TMED almost 1-to-1 complex in ether and hexane at minus 78 degrees centigrade 7 hours, it do the deprotonation. Okay, and as I discussed already, you can click the link at the right up corner to get the details. So if you take this configurationally stable carbon center attached to a lithium, so this carbon center, chiral center, is configurationally stable because of the coordination with this carbamate oxygen. Remember, if this coordination is not there, this sp3 carbon lithium, this bond will be undergo rapid clipping. Actually this chiral center will be racemized. So by taking this lithium, which is configuration stable at less than minus 70 degrees centigrade, a lot of chemistry can be done. What can be done? First, as I discussed earlier, we can do the transmetallation. Actually titanium tetraisopropoxide is a electrophile here, so it will be undergoing transmetallation from the same phase, okay, from the same side at carbon lithium there. So lithium will be just simply replaced with the titanium without any inversion. So retention of configuration occurs here, okay, takes place. So because this lithium coordinate with the oxygen of the titanium tetraisopropoxide, as I discussed in my previous video. Once you have this, it is a beautiful chiral allyl titanium compound, and this will be nicely reacting with the aldehyde via a transition state 1, which is here, I will discuss later, to give us this anti-allylation product. Okay, so we get this product with 87% E and 59% yield. Now, by treating the same lithium compound with chlorotitanium NET2 whole 3, here the titanium profile react from the opposite side of this carbon lithium bond to give us this product, which is which undergo inversion of configuration from here to there, from the lithium to the titanium. So here electrophile doesn't undergo coordination with the lithium and it attack from the backside of this, it undergo reaction from the backside of this carbon lithium bond. These are all we have discussed in my previous video. Interestingly, these allyl titanium compound, this type of product is much more stable than the corresponding lithium. Okay, lithium is stable as minus 70 degrees centigrade, but these are quite stable at minus 40 degree. Not only that, if one take this type of carbon titanium compound, even heat up to room temperature and then add aldehyde, still you get considerable amount of the enantiomeric excess in this product. The reason is the stability of carbon titanium, this bond with the configuration of the chiral center, this carbon chiral center attached to this titanium is much more stable compared to the lithium version. So now you have this other isomer. Actually, here is the titanium at the top and here it is the down. So obviously, if you react with the same aldehyde, you get the opposite enantiomer. So here it is methyl up, sorry, methyl down, OH up, and here methyl is up, OH is down. So you get opposite enantiomer. And the how you are getting this enantiomer or diastereoisomer, the configuration at the C1 is this carbon C1 determine the asymmetric induction. Same for here, this configuration. Okay, and you know the E configuration of this alkene give you the antiproduct, or same for here, and this configuration at the C1 also give you the cis enol ether. Okay, so when you have this titanium at the back with this for this ligand NET2, so yield of this product was 53% and E was bit low, less 63%. Now, if you consider the transition state 1 for the top, is it like both are enantiomeric actually, transition state 1 and transition state 2, they are the enantiomeric. Okay, because you started with two enantiomeric kind of enantiomer. You cannot say the completely enantiomer because here it is isopropoxide and here it is the NED2. But up to titanium, you can consider as a enantiomer considering this, let's say, with this chiral center only. Okay, and we can explain the product outcome by Zimmermann-Traxler type of closed transition state as shown here. Aldehyde undergo coordination with the titanium to lower down the energy of the LUMO of this carbonyl pi star, and here new bond form. This is the E geometry, and these chiral center make this CBZ go in the axial. Okay, because this is the titanium, this configuration is stable, so if you fix in this chair like transition state, it has to go there. Okay, same for here also. So overall this give you this antiproduct and this also give you this antiproduct. Now why we call allylation lead to homoaldol reaction. What is aldol reaction? In the aldol reaction, the alpha proton undergo deprotonation and then it add to a aldehyde or any ketone. Here a similar type of reaction works actually if you hydrolyze this product, okay, and then you get a similar type of homoaldol product because there is one more, just simply one more CH2 is extra. Okay, that is the reason it's called homoaldol. Okay, one more carbon inserted. So that's the reason it's called homoaldol reaction. Okay, so the question is why inversion versus retention of configuration and how transmetallation occurs. So you may follow the video which is given in the link here. So okay, so now for understanding the carbon lithium bonding and how the inversion and retention works, so I have just made another video, please follow that. So what I want to say in this video, generally organolithium compounds stay as aggregated oligomeric form. So when you just take a butyl lithium and add to a reaction, just don't think that you are adding a butyl lithium, okay, like you are taking let's say toluene. Okay, so But the butyl lithium, they are strongly aggregated. Okay, sometimes it can be dimer, tetramer, hexamer, octamer, whatever. So they will be aggregated, and when it is more aggregated, the reactivity will be much less. So you have to break the aggregate. How you can break the aggregate? You can add a coordinating agent, like here we added TMEDA. Okay, so you need to add a coordinating or chelating ligand. Generally, diamine chelating ligand like TMEDA, this is achiral version, is very well known and famous. It has been used extensively to break the aggregate to make the alkyl lithium reagent more reactive. Okay. So why you add TMEDA for your reaction? We got the answer. And what will be the outcome if you take chiral bidentate diamine, let's say spartin, minus spartin. Okay, then what will happen? So obviously, if you take minus 14, it will coordinate to the n-butyl lithium as shown here. So it is actually crystal structure of this compound is already known and published in this Jack's paper. So this is the 2-spartin butyl group here, lithium, lithium. There are also several other crystal structure reported here and some other publication also. So this type of complexes are known. You can see here, butyl lithium is a dimer. But because this spartin is quite hindered, this type of dimer, let's say you take the toluene, and once your substrate coordinate with the lithium for the deprotonation, so it will be monomer. Okay, and then this carbon lithium bond will be selectively taking one proton. Okay, and from the prochiral center. So we can discuss this reaction here. So okay, let's come back here first. So spartin coordinate to the n-butyl lithium, and it breaks the aggregate. Okay, as shown here. So it makes the butyl lithium a chiral base. Okay, so this butyl lithium, in principle, butyl lithium is achiral, but once it's coordinate with this spartin coordinate with this lithium, this butyl lithium become chiral, and you can do the asymmetric deprotonation. Let's say this carbonyl coordinate here, and you make the monomer, and this part will be deprotonating one of these prochiral proton selective. For this case, it deprotonate this top proton. So the carbamate group here important because it stabilizes this chiral carbon center. Okay, because it otherwise it will be undergoing rapid racemization. And remember, for this type of lithium species, it can react with the electrophile with the inversion or the more reactive electrophile, and retention when it the reaction undergo via coordination with the lithium. So this will be retention of configuration. So now for the inversion, one more point which I must mention here, you need a group, let's say aromatic group, where this carbanion can be in conjugation. When you have a benzene ring or double bond, it can do the conjugation. For this inversion, when you have an alkyl group here, the inversion is difficult. When you have an aromatic group here, inversion is much easy because it can undergo coordination here. It's not coordination, conjugation with the pi orbital of the benzene, and then it undergoes inversion. Okay, so here because this is a prochiral substrate, and spartin and butyl lithium make a chiral base, it deprotonates the top proton selectively, and you get this one. So while you are studying in allylation this chemistry, because we want to use this spartin butyl lithium combination to deprotonate to get our required substrate, and this is a substrate. So if you take this allyl alcohol protected as a carbamate, and this is also prochiral 2 proton ether by taking spartin and n-butyl lithium, selectively this down proton can be deprotonated. Once you have this one, so in this case titanium tetraisopropoxide undergo reaction with the inversion of configuration at this chiral center, carbon center. So here inversion occurs, and you get this allyl titanium compound. And this allyl titanium compound can be reacted with several other electrophile, not only the aldehyde, it can or ketone. It can be also, let's say, thialkyl tin chloride, and it again undergo anti, means it react from the other phase, and it again inversion occurs here, anti substitution electrophilic prime. So it react not directly on this carbon, rather here. Okay, so you know this prime called ACN prime reaction, like that. Substitution is AC prime. So you see there the tin is opposite to this for this titanium side. Okay, when the titanium side is the top of the screen and the chain goes down, so here is the anti-adhesion occurs. So one more point is this can be directly used as a allylation reaction, but this type of tin compound as shown here, allyl tin compound, they are very much stable configuration, not like allyl titanium or allyl lithium reagent. So this type of compound can be even isolated. Okay, they are very stable. So once stable, you can make it, and in situ you can generate from here the allyl titanium compound. Against here it undergo anti-AC prime reaction. So titanium goes opposite to this where the tin is there, opposite phase. Okay, here, and these can be reacted with the aldehyde to give the this annihilation product with excellent yield, 88% yield, and yield is 91%. So a similar reaction, but what I want to say here, the chiral tin reagent, allyl tin reagent, can also be used as a stable intermediate, and it can be used without lithiation, asymmetric lithiation. This chiral reagent can directly be used in presence of titanium tetrachloride and to generate this type of highly reactive aryl titanium complex, which will be undergoing the annihilation reactions. The moral of the story, the tin compound can be generated from the titanium, and titanium compound can be generated from the tin. So this reaction work in a like in vice versa. So whatever you need, you can do according to your wish. Okay, so with this I want to complete this small video. Here is one homework for you. So you have this substrate or same substrate, you are treating with the n-butyl lithium aspartame and then in toluene. Okay, and then transmetallation with a chloro titanium triisopropoxide give you this enantiomer. Okay, anti-product because of this is with the 94 to 6 enantiomeric ratio. Actually it will be enantiomeric ratio, and the anti-scene, it is exclusively giving you the anti, and yield also here is will be modest. And if you just change this titanium compound with the titanium tetraisopropoxide, you will get this other isomer. Okay, so please explain these reactions with the proper transition state and explanation. Until then, thank you for watching this video. I'll be back with a few more videos soon. So enjoy. Bye bye.